Abusia Ghana Mampani, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na nation twatwa so a bano Genesis Papa bi Shemu Muluntumpa na Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces and we twem ne ha Accra International Conference Center Abusia Mampani eba be PM wa ha no wode no to ma bebo African Union dia no na the 13th high level dialogue on democracy, governance and human rights one more day ahyehyɛ so na wabia no dwumadi no ɛhyɛ enede na nyame yɛ adom a wɔkyena 30th no wɔm de akɔ awie na theme wɔm de ato so justice, rights, reparations and state building na ne nkasae mu ɔmampani bɛdu yɛ no wɔkyerɛ sɛ ɛho bɛhia sɛ yɛbɛtumi ayere ɛho na Africa nyinaa yɛaka ɛho abom na ɛyɛ aborɔfo a ɔmbɛdi yɛ so yɛ nneɛma a ɔmofa kɔyɛ ɛkwan a ɔmofa so tete yɛ ne nyinaa no ɔma abɔmmɔden na yɛpuhyia ama ye mpata bia wo se wo de man na wo matimi de man ebetimi aye sika ebetimi aye agudie ebetimi nso aye se wo mo be ye niema bi e de aso ya sene na nam so ama ye ni age as Africa for ntabusua edin na nasefa hwene bobo ha Ghana News TV so e na wo hwemi no bese o se ne ndi kan aba hwemi na wa subscribe na wa share e de ama me na yenko dwumadi na se na yenko hwene ye koso na se e fa Africa hwe die na se wo amanone na send this car bo my Ghana mu wo Europe wo Canada or USA now send this car bar download the Lemfi na efa Lemfi send it na ebo me code news ehim sebe ya bibia no o first download number cha $10 cancel and say wo Europe na wo send it o first €100 a o becha €15 na de ahye ho abusu am yenkwe na yen hwedwumadi ni se na ekoye.
As we reflect on democracy, governance, and human rights, grant us thy peace, wisdom, and understanding, that ours may be a fruitful one for the good of
former Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, my Lady Justice Sophia Akufo, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and permanent representatives of the African Union member states, the General Secretary of the ruling National Democratic Congress of Ghana, the Honorable Fifi Fiavi Kwete, heads of AU and UN organs, representatives from regional economic communities and regional mechanisms, representatives from the diaspora, civil society organizations, youth activists, gender activists, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, as well as the government and good people of Ghana, it is my distinct pleasure to extend very warm and sincere welcome to all participants gathered here in our beautiful city of Accra, Ghana, at this 13th high-level dialogue on human rights, democracy, and governance. On behalf of President Mahama, we welcome you to the land of freedom and justice, a country defined by our eternal struggles against the transatlantic slave trade and against neocolonialism. For us, justice, human rights, and good governance is a deliberate and conscious resolve. You'll find it in our DNA. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed honored to host this important gathering which reflects the African Union's steadfast commitment to placing the rights and welfare of individuals at the heart of governance on our continent. This dialogue serves to advance the core principles of democracy while ensuring that justice, dignity, and inclusion are upheld. This year's theme, Justice, Rights, Reparations, and State Building, highlights crucial aspirational principles that deeply resonate with Ghana and reflect our collective journey as Africans. It emphasizes that sustainable development and lasting peace must be rooted in fairness, inclusivity, and the recognition or redress of historical injustices. As we contemplate the legacies of enslavement, colonialism, apartheid, and systemic exclusion, let us seize this opportunity to collaboratively envision and actively pursue a future where restorative justice moves beyond rhetorical discourse and manifests as a tangible reality for all. Ghana, as a dedicated and active member of the African Union, firmly upholds its advocacy for the principles of reparations and state building based on equity. We perceive this dialogue as both a timely and significant opportunity to cultivate meaningful avenues toward justice, drawing upon the wisdom of our elders, the passion of our youth, the exigencies of the African motherland, and the invaluable contributions of our diaspora. I would like to express my deep appreciation to the African Governance Architecture and the Political Affairs, Peace and Security Department of the African Union Commission for their spirited commitment in organizing this significant gathering. Additionally, I wish to extend my sincere gratitude to our partners, representatives from civil society, and of course, my colleagues at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for working together to put this high-level forum together. We aspire for this conference to go beyond conventional dialogue. May it provide a distinguished platform for the exchange of innovative ideas, facilitate open and sincere discussions, and cultivate a collective commitment to nurturing an African continent where rights are respected, voices are heard, justice is upheld, the democratic dividend is consciously harnessed, and opportunities are created for the many and not the few. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we must do this mindful of the global backdrop where efforts to address such matters in international circles have often been hampered by a lack of political will, moral courage, and oftentimes outright resistance by our detractors to this conversation. To conclude, Excellencies, we would like to extend a cordial welcome to you once again here in the beautiful city of Accra. We hope that your stay will be both fruitful and enriching, fostering reflection and inspiration throughout your time with us and beyond. As you may be aware, Ghana is renowned for its rich and diverse culture, shaped by her many ethnic groups and long-standing traditions, from vibrant music, dance, and storytelling to distinctive cuisine, art, and warm hospitality. The country offers a truly unique experience, one you can't find anywhere. We therefore encourage you to make some time to visit some of our historical and significant sites, such as the Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's Mausoleum, the Black Star Square, our forts and castles, our many mountains and waterfalls, and our beautiful wildlife, which we assure you will be a memorable experience. On behalf of President Mahama, we welcome you warmly, and we hope that this deliberation will foster the Africa that we all want. Akwaba, Wezo, Ojeko, Antire, bienvenue, Benvindos, karibu to all of you. Thank you very much.
Open this high-level dialogue. And so I could just declare it open and go back and sit down. But I guess I'm expected to say a few things. Let me proceed on established protocol, but recognize our former heads of states and prime ministers, former prime ministers, to acknowledge our acting Chief Justice, former Chief Justice, ministers of state, our traditional leaders, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen who have assembled here this morning. It's with profound honor and heartfelt warmth that I welcome you all to Accra, the historic capital of Ghana, the cradle of Africa's independence struggle, and the spiritual home of Pan-Africanism. And our foreign minister added, welcome to the center of the earth. He didn't go on to explain why, but it's that the meridian and the equator intersect in Ghana's territory, and that's why we say it's the center of the earth. We're very privileged to host the 13th high-level dialogue on democracy and human rights, governance, peace, and security, an essential forum at a defining moment in Africa's development trajectory. This year's dialogue, convened under the theme Justice, Rights, Reparations, and State Building, reaffirms our shared commitment to confronting the structural challenges that continue to shape Africa's condition. It reflects our collective will to advance democracy, uphold human rights, strengthen governance, and ensure peace and security for the people of our continent. It also affirms our conviction that true and lasting peace can only be achieved when justice exists, when the rights of our people are respected, and when governance systems are truly inclusive, accountable, and are owned by the people that they serve. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, this dialogue could not have come at a more appropriate time. For far too long, the architecture of African states has rested on foundations imposed during a colonial era that neither understood nor respected our histories, our culture, or our aspirations. The enduring legacies of slavery, colonial exploitation, systemic racism, and economic subjugation are still visible today in the arbitrary borders that divide our peoples, in the financial hardships imposed by unjust global systems, and in the fragile governance systems, institutions that we are still struggling to strengthen. We gather here not only to examine this painful past, but also to shape a different and a better future for our continent, where African agency, sovereignty, and dignity are restored and respected. A future where state building is informed by our context, shaped by our people, and owned by our African communities. Ghana is honored to contribute to this continental vision. From the bold Pan-African ideals of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, to our current engagement on reparative justice and democratic consolidation, Ghana has always stood at the forefront of the struggle for African dignity, unity, and self-determination. We believe that unity is our historical imperative and our most effective instrument for achieving justice and prosperity. The Ghanaian people remain committed to building a continent where no one is left behind and every voice is heard and valued. Yet, we must be honest. This dialogue cannot afford to become another ceremonial event filled with lofty speeches but void of action. Our citizens are watching and waiting. Our young people comprise the majority of our population and are growing increasingly impatient. They are not asking for charity, they demand fairness, they demand opportunity, and a stake in our continent's future. Civil society is mobilized, our diaspora is engaged, and our institutions, though still evolving, are increasingly bold and ready to deliver. We must rise to the occasion, not with rhetoric, but with clear action. In that spirit, allow me to place before you two urgent recommendations. And the first is I wish to commend the African Union Executive Council for extending the theme of the year on reparations to a decade on reparations. And so from 2026 to 2036 has been declared as the decade of reparations by the African Union. I also wish to commend the Executive Council for approving the terms of reference for the African Union Commission of Experts on Reparations and the African Union Reference Group of Legal Experts on Reparations. These are critical milestones. However, we must now move swiftly to operationalize these instruments. We must empower these bodies with the resources, visibility, and mandate to lead us on this noble journey of truth, justice, and restitution. Let this not be another declaration left on paper. Let it be a living mandate for action. Secondly, I urge this dialogue to take a firm stand on the need for legally binding frameworks across all member states to safeguard our civic space. We must protect the right to organize, to protest, and participate. We must preserve the freedom of the press, the voices of the youth and our women, and marginalized groups must be heard and protected. Democracy cannot thrive in the presence of fear or repression. The legitimacy of our governments depends on the inclusion of all our people. Governments must exist for all our people and not just a few. Equally important is the need to prioritize political education as a pillar of state building, widespread civic disengagement is not simply a matter of apathy. It is often the result of exclusion, mistrust, and systemic failure. And therefore, we must integrate political and civic education into our school curriculum. We must encourage public engagement through national dialogues and community platforms. And we must ensure that our democratic institutions speak a language our citizens understand and trust. Democracy must be more institutional. It must not be just institutional, it must be relational. It must be rooted in the daily lives, experiences, and expectations of our people. This dialogue must be remembered as a meeting of minds and a moment of continental reawakening. We must boldly pursue justice for our past, present, and future generations. Justice must inform the institutions we create, the policies we enact, and the leadership that we embody. This is not a romantic notion. It is a practical and achievable goal if we are united, determined, and courageous to pursue it. And so let us make this dialogue count. Let us not merely reflect, but let us act, let us speak of Africa's potential and realize it in our lifetime. On this note, it is with deep conviction and hope for our collective future that I have the honor and privilege of declaring that 13th High-Level Dialogue on Human Rights, Democracy, and Governance officially opened. Akwaba. Akwaba, and welcome once again to Ghana. Thank you.
Warriors here, this is gungulum 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 gung. This is Ghana News TV. The time is 6 o'clock. Let me follow Ghana.
So send this cafe amanoni aba Africa ha. You selem fight. Say ye fear wo pese wo ntono. You selem fight. E dan ya na say japade a wani da so a wo pese oto Africa ha no. You selem fight. So wo send this sika ama odofo e de aboa no wo Africa ha. You selem fight. Sanso e na say wo tie obi school fees ama no a. You selem fight. Nyenti a make cancel lem fight ama on say utimi send this sika e fa lem fight so a e mani begu bank account mu sanso e na timi begu mobile money account mu. eno achi nso no de bia lemfi e wo daily rate a e ma wo hu sika dodo a wo sende a wo benya lemfi e secured na wo send this car enche na nipa a wo send ama no ne nsa aka lemfi wo USA Canada UK Italy Germany Ireland Netherlands Spain Belgium Portugal and France what the lemfi send this car untu ahwe bomodi a dey use me code NEWS news na say ene any day di kan o register o lemfi so a unya o bonus sanso e na use chen so a ye wo bonuses ahodo a ye de ma.
Follow and watch Ghana News TV.
Excellency, President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. John Mahama, Excellencies, former President of the African Union States, here present, Excellencies, Head of Delegations of the African Union Member States, Excellency, Ministers of the Government of Ghana, Excellencies, Members of African Union Commissions, Excellencies, Members of African Union organs and recs, Excellency, distinguished guests, all protocol observed. It is about an honor and solemn duty to stand before you today at the 13th edition of High-Level Dialogue of Human Rights, Democracy and Governance. On behalf of the African Governance Architecture and African Peace Architecture, I would like to welcome you all. I would like to thank for accepting our invitation for this high-level dialogue, which is now held every 2 years, marking a new stage in our collective commitment to promoting good governance, human rights, justice, and citizen participation on the continent. Excellencies, distinguished guests, we are gathered today around the crucial, profoundly historic theme, justice for African and African people descended through reparation, with sub-theme, repairing our history, shaping our future. This theme for 2025 of the African Union invites us to reflect deeply on our past, to reassess our present, and above all, to consciously, ambitiously, and inclusively build our future. The 33rd dialogue is a continuation of the rich history. With the annual holding of the previous 12 high-level dialogue, the AGA-APSA platform has been able to draw up a compendium of recommendations of this meeting, including those from the pre-forum on gender and youth. This work forms a strategic foundations to guide our future actions and strengthen our impact. We have seen our members, including the Pan-African Parliament, the ECOSOG, the African Court on the People's Rights, the African Commission on the People's Rights, the APIM, the African Advisory Board Commissions, the ACWC, the Committee, the RECs, and they take concrete initiative around the theme of reparations. Excellencies, the Pan-African Parliament has launched a series of regional consultations on the recognition of the historical trauma of slavery, colonizations, and systematic racism. It's also set a current session around the discussion of the theme of the year. A workshop organized by the PAP in February 2025 explored the historical, legal, and the practical dimension of restorative justice in Africa and draw a number of the commitments, including the reaffirmation of the PAP commitment to focus the African Union 2025 theme of justice and reparation for African and people of African descendants, the call for collaboration between peace, civil society, academia, and the diaspora network. Through these actions, The Pan-African Parliament confirms that reparations are not simply a moral and historical debate. They are an essential driver of legislative transformations, social coalitions, and the political sovereignty of our continent. The ECOSOC mobilized civil society to propose community-based reparation mechanisms centered on the social and economic priorities of affecting populations through a preparatory symposium at the margin of African Union Summit, with the aim to strengthen citizen participation and coordinations among CSO, member states, the diaspora, and institutions, and placing civil society at the center of public discourse on reparations. ECOSOC launched the CSO Compendium of My Africa, My Future on the occasion of the Day of Africa. This tool compares and promotes citizen initiatives across Africa and diaspora, aligned with the theme of reparations. The African Court of Human and People's Rights opened its judicial year on the theme of year and organized a judicial seminar on the theme Advancing Towards Justice Through Reparations. The African Commission on the Human and People's Rights held a forum with civil society actors on specific reparation theme on the banks of statutory sessions, with 30 special interest groups drawing up recommendations centered on survival-centered approach. A resolution dedicated to the Commission contribution of the year, theme of the year, was discussed during the panel, and recommendation will be adopted this session in October. I would like to salute the commitment of the African Peer Review Mechanism, with this year's distinguished itself by strategically reinforcing its actions around the theme of years. It has been reflected in the production of knowledge and strategic analysis by integrating into 2025 report on governance in Africa, dimensions relating to economic justice, to distribution of resources, and innovative financing mechanisms that can support restorative policies. These efforts demonstrate that restorative justice cannot be limited to memory, but must also be part of concrete, sensible, and sustainable structural policy. In this respect, the APRM is fundamental lever to integrate reparation into national governance and development framework. The REX has led community dialogue on reconciliations and post-conflict reconstructions through reparative approach. There is space for regional governance perfectly suitable to carrying out regional consultations and promoting political, economic, and social integrations around the restorative agenda. Excellencies, distinguished guests. This year's theme also urged to transform reparation into a driving force for social, economic, and political progress. It is not just about righting the wrong of the past, but both about fostering strong, resilient, and equitable shared future for African generations. With this in mind, African children have expressed their voice loudly and clearly. At continental commemoration of the Day of African Child in Lilongwe, Malawi, they formulate recommendations on reparations and historical injustice. These young voices are not marginal. They carry the echo of tomorrow Africa. They will also be heard on the celebration of the 35th anniversary of the African Shield Charter, scheduled to be in November in Mazero Kingdom in Lesotho, an event that I would like kindly invite all present. Excellency, distinguished guests, As we are aware, at the middle of the year, the platform members will continue mainstreaming the theme of the activities and more still be done. This dialogue is an opportunity for us to build bridge between institutions, community, generations, and nations. Together, we have the duty to restore Africa, its memory, its justice, and its full moral and political sovereignty. In this spirit, we need to move to actions by enacting policies, allocating resources, and establish inclusive mechanisms that give us full expression to the reparative agenda. All states need to integrate reparation with their governance strategies and budget framework. African Union organs need to assure coordinations and monitoring of commitment. I thank you for your commitment and wish fruitful and transformative deliberations. Thank you.
Ownership. Culture and religion are cornerstones of African societies and critical vehicles for policy action. We should utilize them to drive the ratification, domestication, and implementation of frameworks such as the Maputo Protocol. Equally, increased sensitization about the Maputo Protocol's principles is crucial, particularly considering that it has been over 20 years since it came into force. The African Union is encouraged to mainstream and increase the participation of women traditional leaders in peace building and reparative justice processes. Member states are encouraged to urgently ratify, domesticate, and implement the African Union Convention on Ending Violence Against Women and Girls. Governments, CSOs, and society at large should destigmatize sexual violence in order to adequately address and implement gender justice solutions. Governments should equally implement systematic approaches to women's empowerment, including establishing effective justice systems that act decisively against perpetrators of gender-based violence. Financial inclusion mechanisms should be instituted as a broad strategy. Governments are therefore encouraged to be deliberate in instituting financial inclusion measures that enable women to achieve financial independence, recognizing the capital-intensive nature of today's world. The diaspora community offers more than just financial remittances. Their unique contributions, social and cultural, including expertise and networks, should be effectively harnessed in addressing and seeking reparatory justice. Intergenerational action is fundamental. There should be synergies and flexibility between the older and younger generations, adjusting to the contemporary realities while remaining open to the lived experiences of the older generation. And finally, the African Union is encouraged to make deliberate efforts to embed mandatory gender and youth audits in transitional justice and reparatory justice processes. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. Kindly be seated.
And so coming up shortly is a conversation on our theme from your colleagues, past heads of state and government, and ladies and gentlemen, after them. and Social Development, Ambassador Rebecca Amugi, Permanent Representative of Uganda and Chairperson of the PSC for the month of July, Ambassador Willie Nyamitwe, Permanent Representative of the Republic of Burundi and Chairperson of the PRC Subcommittee on Human Rights, Democracy and Governance, and Madame Simone Mbode Diouf, African Youth Ambassador for Peace, West Africa. The last set up.
So send this cafe amanoni aba Africa ha Usulem fi say ye fear wo pese wo nto no Usulem fi edan ya na say japade a wani da so a wo pese wo to Africa ha no Usulem fi say wo send this sika ama odofo e de aboa no wo Africa ha Usulem fi sanso e na say wo tie obi school fees ama no a Usulem fi nyenti American full lem fi ama on say utimi send this sika e fa lem fi so a e ma ne begu bank account mu sanso e na timi begu mobile money account mu eno achi nso no de bia lemfi e wo daily rate a e ma hu sika dodo a wo sende a wo benya lemfi e ye secured na wo send this car enche na nipa a wo sende ama no ne nsaka lemfi wo USA, Canada, UK, Italy, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, Spain, Belgium, Portugal and France. What the lemfi send this car untu ahwe bomodi a dey use me code NEWS news na say ene any day they can register or lemfi so a unya bonus sanso e na use chance so a ye wo bonuses ahodo a ye de ma
menu makwekwe sa sempa kania
Seminam na meti asempa na mo amane a na ma no keka me. Anyem bia what ANS Trading Agency Limited nka. Se wo ka say door to door for no de na e watwa. E sense obi ne wa wo say wo ho sa door to door business nim. Wo nneoma wo UK a wo de ko Ghana. Ana say Germany a wo de ko Ghana. 3 to 5 weeks e be kwa kodu nipa ne puna no say try. Na de mo demonstration wo say dwuma de we mu ne say wo ho bo no. E da form say boko. ANS Trading Agency Limited. E wo air freight special service. And nneoma ne ye de be fa plane. Entintempa na akwa kodu. Obetima fa sa pra we ya so de nneoma free Ghana akwa UK ana Germany. FAGG dem which na also agina ye na men drop bomb. ANS Trading Agency Limited pe and a 40 footer any 20 footer container. Ya for UK ediko Ghana ana Germany ediko Ghana. Omo manuoma yemre import to export to them there for you. Omo Ghana na money 0249 170 423. UK has over free 0790 802 7527. Germany 09173 771 2733. Ubenya ANS Trading Agency Limited. Our West Croydon ANS Trading Agency Limited. Quantum Brantem. Wana bebo ya baso. Maybe next time in your fill up from the bebro.